1. The paradox of power. Imagine you've just spent $44 billion to acquire the world's digital town square. You walk into the headquarters carrying a kitchen sink, wearing a smirk of triumph. But the moment the doors close, that smile vanishes. November 2022. Elon Musk executes a brutal purge at Twitter. 3,700 people lose their jobs through a cold, midnight email. The world calls him a madman, a heartless tyrant. But there is a truth few dare to admit. Behind that ruthlessness lies a fear. The fear of collapse. Niccolò Machiavelli, a man who lived through and tasted every bitterness of betrayal, would understand this feeling perfectly. He wouldn't call it madness. He would call it the survival instinct of a prince. Welcome to Machiavelli Elite. I know many will find what they are about to hear difficult to accept, but here, we look directly at the naked truth of power. Join me as we dive deep into the minds of two of the loneliest figures in history. On one side, a handbook of power written in 1513. On the other, a man redefining power through technology and capital in 2026. Who is the true prince of this era? The answer will fundamentally change how you view success. If you want to know who Machiavelli is, check out my channel's intro video. 2. The Art of the Purge and Solitude. In Chapter 3 of The Prince, Machiavelli offers a grim piece of advice. If an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared. Why be so cruel? Because Machiavelli understood human nature better than anyone. We often hold grudges over small injuries, but we bow before blows that leave us powerless to resist. Look at how Musk handled Twitter through the lens of an M&A assassin. People say he fired employees to save money. I say he did it to buy internal peace. Have you ever felt like you were in a room full of people who wanted you to fail? That was Musk at Twitter on day one. Locking badges and firing the leadership wasn't just a business tactic, it was a purge. Musk accepted becoming the villain in the eyes of the public in exchange for absolute control. Cruel? Perhaps. But in Machiavelli's world, misplaced mercy is a death sentence for a leader. 3. Between fear and loyalty. It is much safer to be feared than loved. This sentence has haunted humanity for 500 years. But listen closely to the next part Machiavelli wrote. The prince must nonetheless make himself feared in such a way that, if he is not loved, at least he escapes being hated. This is exactly where Elon Musk is playing the riskiest gamble of his life. At Tesla or SpaceX, Musk doesn't need his employees to love him. He makes them sleep on the factory floor and work to the point of exhaustion. He creates an environment where the fear of falling behind is the only motivator. Yet, he is incredibly shrewd. He gives them a creed. Mars and the future of humanity. There is a deeply human contradiction here. We hate tyranny, yet we are drawn to those with an iron will. Musk uses social media noise to build a relatable image, a doer hero, to mask the iron fist inside his empire. He understands that people will forgive a tyrant, as long as that tyrant is leading them to a promised land. 4. Virtue, Fortuna, and the Price of Legacy. In 2008, Elon Musk stood at the edge of the abyss. SpaceX had failed 3 launches. Tesla was out of cash. He had to borrow money from friends just to eat. If it were you, would you dare withdraw your last $40 million, your family's final hope, to bet on a rocket with a 90% chance of exploding? Machiavelli called such a moment the confrontation between virtù and fortuna. Fortune is like a fickle woman, and Musk chose to subdue her with violence. But a true legacy doesn't lie in net worth figures. Machiavelli would ask Musk a very human question. Elon, when you are no longer there, will this empire collapse like a castle of sand? In finance, we call this key man risk. Musk's greatness is also his greatest weakness. He built his empire on a cult of personality. Machiavelli was different. He built his empire on a system of thought. Musk may be the richest man in the world today, but Machiavelli is the one living in your mind after 5 centuries. 5. The verdict. A lesson for yourself. So, who is the true prince? If you are playing the short-term game of money and technology, Elon Musk wins. He executes Machiavellian principles instinctively and sharply. But if you are playing the 500-year game of thought and power, Machiavelli wins. Because 5 centuries after his death, the most powerful people in the world are still acting according to what he wrote on parchment. I want you to ask yourself, what are you building for your own life? Do you dare to be ruthless with your old habits to achieve a grand goal? Are you preparing for the raging river of fate when it turns violent? 3 elite lessons for you. 1. You cannot control Fortuna, but you can control your preparation. Build your dikes while the river is still calm. 2. When a difficult decision must be made, do it once and decisively. Hesitation only feeds the enemy. 3. Don't just build wealth. Build a system that can survive without you. That is the pinnacle of power. Thank you for joining Machiavelli Elite. If you found these insights valuable, leave a comment. I want to know your perspective on the Prince Elon Musk. See you in our next dissection of Jeff Bezos. Don't just be a spectator, be the one who masters the game.